Guys, I'm going to show you how to install one of these ClosetMaid wire shelves. Now, I've done a few of these before, and I'm going to give you some tips as far as how it's going to be able to bear a large amount of weight and show you how to do that. So what I was going to do at first is bring it across this top shelf, but I think that would have looked a little bit weird. So I'm just going to bring it and buttress it against this other one. Now what I did is I marked, and you can kind of see where I marked these studs here. Now you're going to want to know where the studs are for later in the video. This is what the shelf looks like. I do like this kind because it has this little hanging area on the front. So this is me holding it out front here. So you can see we're just going to basically line this up with the other shelf. It's going to really help to have a level for this kind of project. And to do this, you're going to just take this top piece right here and line it up with the top piece of the other one. And then you're going to kind of mark on this wall as well. We're going to put these fixed mounts on the side. I call these side mount brackets or side wall brackets. They come in a pack of 2. They are also the ClosetMaid brand. Now these actually click into place, so you can put these into place and mark your holes where you're going to drill. Now this is really helpful because you don't have to have multiple hands. I am filming this with one hand and doing it with the other, so I do apologize if there is some poor quality with the filming. Now I already made some holes here, and this is the actual shelf hardware. You have the wall pin with clips, the anchor with pin, and then the wall brackets as well. This is the clip here. It comes pre-installed with the hammer. So I think these are going to take, it says in the directions, I think they're 5/16 or 1/4 inch drill bits. You just do want to double check. Now the hole on the left was not a stud, and the one on the right was going to hit a stud. So I'll show you how I deal with that. The one on the right, I'm basically going to just use this heavy duty wood screw, and that's going to give us some more support anyways, even though it's a little bit annoying. Now, so what we're going to do is we have this clip already in here. Now look at the way you put it in. You put it in with the nail already. If you were to take the nail out and put the clip in a different way, it wouldn't work. So this just goes right in the hole on this left side. It's going to hold itself up, and we are going to hammer that in. That's going to expand that anchor. And again, on this right hole, that goes into the stud. So we pre-drilled a hole, not a 1/4 inch, of course, but just a lot smaller than that, enough to guide the screw in. I started it with the drill and then finished it off with the screwdriver Phillips here. Now you have something to hold it in. This just pops on in. One thing that I like to tell people, you want this to go in at least halfway into that side wall bracket. And I did mark a little pin mark underneath, and that's not the hole. That's just a marking to let me know where this bottom curved portion is going to be and the wire rack is going to sit into. So you're just going to make a hole right where this anchor part is going to be, right above it. You can kind of guesstimate it's going to be right here. And what we made a second little marking there. We're going to drill that. I think it's with, it says on the package, but I want to say this one is a 1/4 inch hole. And then you just take your clip, push it on in, and then you're going to go ahead and hammer that on in, and it's going to expand and hold that into place. They are pretty sturdy. Now at this point you can go ahead and put the shelf back in, and you can clip it on into that clip, and you can make sure it's in the right spot, and make sure you're going to, at this point we're going to make additional markings, and you're going to have the level on the top. And you can see I've made additional markings where we want to put the other clips. So I want to put 2 more clips, one in the middle, one on the very end here. That's going to hold this in place on the back of the wall. You can see I made a hole there, not a hole, but a marking there, and a marking right here. Now, the reason this one here is off of the shelf is just because it's leaning down in the front, and we'll fix that later with the wall brackets. So no worries there. And again, that's going to be, those markings are not the hole, that's the bottom part. You're going to have to come up a little bit like we did in the first one, and we're going to make those holes. I think those are 1/4 inch holes, and we've already established that those areas are not studs. So we just push these on in, and again we're going to hammer these in. I couldn't hammer them with the phone holding, but you just kind of do what I did. This pushes on in, you hammer those both in, and now at this point you can go ahead and put this back on. So we slide it into the sidewall bracket, and then we're going to clip those in to those clips on the back here. Now this is what that looks like. It's going to look pretty good, and you're not going to worry about levelness at the moment because we already measured that. And like I said before, you're going to want this to come at least halfway into the bracket. I've seen these installed before where they're not even halfway in the bracket, and that can be an issue as far as it coming out if there's a lot of heavy clothing. Now next up, we're going to install these underneath brackets that are like these wall mount brackets, and they have spacing for these. You can kind of see, or these are actually the spacings for the clips, and you can use multiple clips. They usually space them about a foot apart, I want to say. Now these are the wall brackets. This flat part goes against the drywall, and then this top part is going to go up. I'm going to show you the top part because that has a little portion that is actually going to go up like this. So you can see how I'm doing it here. This goes up, and what you're going to want to do is rest this little guide wire right there in that little nook, and it's going to position it. Now here's where you want to use the level and make sure it's in the right position. Now the bottom part, you just put that nail in and you push that through with the hammer. You actually don't have to nail it with the hammer, but you can also just push it through with the butt of the hammer, which is a little trick. Now these are what they look like on this other portion here. Now you can see we have the shelf where we want it installed in the correct place. Now we could be good to go from here, but I'm going to actually install a few more clips just because I want this to be sturdier. So you can see as far as the position looks pretty good, but I want to install some more anchor clips, because what can happen is if you get a lot of weight on here, we're going to install 2 more extra clips that are going to hold it back to the drywall. Because if you get a lot of weight on the top pulling down, it can actually pull the front down, and if the back is not anchored in properly, the actual whole thing could fall down. I've had that happen before. So these are some anchor clips. That's what these look like. I had to buy these separately, but they are definitely worth it. So these can also go in concrete. They can go into studs, or of course into the drywall. They do come with anchors built in, but this is going to provide that support that's going to hold it to the back of the wall, and you have that support on the front with the 2 brackets and then the sidewall bracket here. So you are pretty set to go here. You do want to make sure that it's level. Obviously you made sure beforehand, but this is what it should look like. You can add clips in these areas instead of those anchors. I just feel like those anchors provide extra support in case pressure comes downward from the front of the shelf, which has happened before, and those clips aren't going to hold if you get a ton of weight in the front. I really hope this video helped, guys, and check out down below for other videos. I have tagged the shelving and supply kits I've used down below in the description.